Hey, it's Devanshi. Here's everything you need to know about UCSB academics. This includes learning how to create a 4-year plan, course registration, choosing classes, office hours, CLAS, academics advising, information on pre-majors, changing your major, double majoring, minors, and certificates. There's timestamps in the description box below, so feel free to skip around if you need to. We're just going to get right into how to create your 4-year plan. So here's how you're going to create your 4-year plan. You're going to go to your Google Drive and open up a Google Sheet and just type in first year through 4th year in this column, and then in this row you're going to type fall, winter, spring, summer for each of the 4 quarters at UCSB. Summer is usually optional, so just keep that there in case you want to take extra classes one summer just to learn. How you're going to find what classes you want for your major is you are going to go ahead and search whatever your major is. So for me, econ, and then 4-year suggested plan of study. You're going to come to one of these. Most departments have a study plan like this, but I'll go ahead and show you if they don't what you want to do instead. So you're basically going to copy all of these requirements onto your Google Sheet here, just to make sure that every single quarter when you're signing up for classes, you're signing up for classes that will actually count towards your major and that you will graduate on time because you're completing all the requirements. So you're just going to transfer everything over. I'm going to go and do that really quick. Now that you have all of your major classes inputted into your 4-year plan, you're going to want to check how many GEs you have left. To do this, you're going to log on to Gold with your UCSB Net ID and password, and then you're going to go to Progress, and then Major and GE Progress Check. You're going to run a progress check for your particular major. And then use in progress courses. Alright, so you're going to scroll down, and here it will tell you, so we have area A, area B, area C, area D, area E, area F, area G, and then 4 general education requirements. These all have to be completed before you graduate. So you can just check here, like for example, I still need an area A2 course. So I'm gonna put that into my 4-year plan somewhere. And then same with area G, and then the writing requirement and world cultures requirement and ethnicity requirement and European traditions requirement. You're just gonna put that in here. And then another thing I would highly suggest is to email this 4-year plan to your major department, so the econ department, and then just general letters and science academic advising, so they can approve your 4-year plan and just make sure that you're not missing any requirements. If your major doesn't have a suggested 4-year plan, what you can do, like for example, let's do the art major UCSB. This will come up, and undergraduate major requirements. Let's click on that. Okay, maybe not this one. You want to look for this document. These are all of the requirements you have to complete for the art major. So I would just go through this and start putting the courses in one by one into your 4-year plan. And again, make sure you check with the department's advisors, because some of these courses can only be taken like during the spring, during the fall, and you just want to make sure that your plan is completely feasible. I just want to move on to answering what are UCSB's GE requirements. So there's 2 types of GE requirements. These are the letter requirements for Bachelors of Arts, and then later I'll show you the letter requirements for Bachelors of Science. Besides these letter requirements, there's also general education requirements, which include the writing requirement, the world cultures requirement, quantitative relationships requirement, and ethnicity requirement. You can only fulfill one letter GE, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G at one time, but you can fulfill multiple of the writing, world cultures, etc. at one time. And then I just wanted to show you some of the most popular / fun GE courses that fulfill a lot of GEs. And then of course, make sure you check Rate by Professor before adding any courses and checking the finals. Website that UCSB uses to let students choose their classes. This includes everything from registration to seeing how many units you have left to seeing if you've completed your GEs and a lot more. Let's go to Gold for a second and I'll show you how to register for courses. So you're going to click on the Find Courses tab and select the quarter you're registering your classes for. Then you're going to select the subject area, or this is technically the department. So if I want to add an econ class, I'm going to click the econ department and then I'm going to click search. Once I click search, I have every single econ class that's offered over here. The top one is the lecture, and the next ones are sections. The difference between the lecture and the section is that the lecture are usually larger meetings with the professor, and then the sections are smaller classes with the TA. When you add your classes, you're going to want to add them in with the section timing. So this lecture timing will not change. The only thing that'll change from section to section is the section time or maybe the TA. So you're going to want to add the lecture through the section by clicking add on this side. The other thing to keep in mind when you're adding courses is to look at the final exam information. I really wouldn't suggest having more than one on one day. So when do you exactly register for courses? To find out this information, you can click the registration tab on your Gold and look at your pass times, which can be found on the right side here. Make sure you're on the right quarter. Your pass 1 is going to be to register for any classes that are in your major. So if you're an econ major, all of your econ major classes. Your pass 2 kind of opens up more classes that you can take in other departments, and then pass 3 is generally for everyone to add courses in all the departments. This pass time changes depending on your class level, which can be found here. If you are a freshman or sophomore, you generally will have a later pass time than a junior or senior. Also, if you're in the honors program, your pass time is usually a couple days ahead of everyone else. It can be a huge advantage in choosing classes because later pass times usually don't get the options of lots of courses and times for courses because most of them are filled up. The way you can find out if you can register for a certain class during your pass time is to go to Find Courses and click on whichever course you want to take. Let's say I want to take a chem course. I'm going to go to search, and then if I go to course info and then I go to restrictions, I can see that during pass 1 and pass 2 it's restricted to all of these majors. If I'm not in any of these majors, I'm not going to be able to sign up for this class until pass 3. That's how you find out if you can sign up for a class during pass 1. Another helpful thing is if you're trying to find a class that fulfills a certain GE, you can go to switch to advanced search, and you're going to put your college in here, and then whichever area. I'm missing A2, so I'm going to click that, and I'm going to begin my search. And all of these are going to fulfill that general education requirement. The way you check what general education requirement a class offers is by going to course info and looking at may apply to GE requirement. And this is going to tell you if it's going to fulfill a GE requirement, and if so, which one it fulfills. Okay, great. Now that we've gone through how to register for classes, how do you choose your classes in the first place? I'm just gonna walk you through some resources that I found really helpful as a freshman, and I hope you guys do too. The course that I found really helpful was assist.org. It's basically just a website that shows you what courses will transfer from community college to the college that you're at right now. So if we put UCSB in here, it will give us a list. Let's say Ohlone College. Okay. View agreements. And then you can do it by major. So let's do the economics major and we can view agreement. And this will basically show us which courses I can take at Ohlone that will transfer to UCSB and will give me credit for it. I think this is a really useful tool, especially because college can be really, really expensive. So if you can complete GEs at community college, it's honestly really great. I've done that for a couple quarters as well. Okay, the next resource I want to show you guys is gauchocourses.com. It's basically a really cool website that if you put in all of the courses that you're thinking about taking, so for example, if I do like Econ 3A. Alright, and then when you click Find Schedules, it gives you every possible iteration of the courses that you listed, which I think is really cool because it gives you options without you having to like physically draw it out, which I think is amazing. There's also, I would also double check this with Gold just to make sure the class times are offered. And also there's another site like this called Courseicle UCSB. It's similar. Courseicle is basically the same idea, but you kind of have to manually do it. For this one, it just kind of does it automatically, which is super, super nice. The next resource I have is UCSB's Reddit. It's honestly really, really helpful and a really good resource to get advice from people who have previously taken courses before or people who have been in the clubs you want to go in. It's honestly good to check for anything. You can filter it by like academic life questions. It's honestly it's a really good tool. Honestly, a professor can really make or break the learning material of the class, and just to make sure that you're getting the most out of every class, you should definitely check your professor's ratings online. If you are not familiar with Rate My Professor, it just goes here. I would take everything you find here with a grain of salt. Obviously, these reviews are written by people that have really, really strong opinions, so just take that into account when choosing your courses. The next thing I have is LASAR. UCSB's LASAR is basically, I don't even know if that's what it's called, but it's basically just a huge like pamphlet type situation with everything, with all of the general education requirements and which APs transfer, which I think can be really, really helpful as a freshman, so I'll definitely link this down below. These are just some of my favorite resources that have helped me so much, so I will be sure to link them down below.
What are office hours? Office hours are basically a period of time in the week that a professor or TA allots to have students come in and maybe ask about their questions or any doubts that they have on the course or the learning material. Office hours are so helpful. Most people don't realize it, so not a lot of people show up. But I would say to go to office hours for any subject that you have any question in. This is also a great way to kind of build a relationship with a professor or TA and learn more about the subject. What is CLAS? CLAS is UCSB's Campus Learning Assistance Services. They're basically a free tutoring service that students can use to clear up any doubts they have on any certain subject. You can either sign up for sections for a particular class, so you sign up for an extra section, which will be your CLAS section. If it's a math class or a statistics class, you'll go to that CLAS section to kind of do more practice problems or clear up doubts you have on the subject. It's kind of a good way to build more study time into your routine. I think it's really a good tool to use to fuel your learning, and it's definitely helped me a lot.
UCSB's CLAS website, they also have like drop-in services that they're continuing online. Usually you can find the drop-in schedules here. I see they still have them. That's amazing. This is the one for econ and statistics, so you can basically see which tutor is available at what time for what class, and it's just a really helpful free resource that you can use anytime. I highly suggest checking this website out. Here is how you sign up. You will click the little sign up tab in the upper right hand corner, and you go to My Tutorial Groups, and then you add a group. And yeah, you can basically do it here. And yeah, that's how you sign up for a CLAS section.
What is academic advising? Academic advising is basically a department in your college at UCSB that will help you with any questions relating to academics that you might have.
This is the academic advising website for UCSB, and they're still doing drop-ins. These are the instructions to do that. It's honestly a great way to check in with an advisor or a peer advisor to make sure that you're on track to graduate. So I would highly suggest doing that or talking to them if you're still confused about what major you want to declare or anything like that. This is also the academic advising email that you can email at any time. They're usually pretty timely in their replies, so yeah, I would just suggest you check that out.
What is a pre-major? A pre-major is usually a set of classes that you have to do to get into the actual major. Some pre-majors require that you maintain a minimum GPA to get into the major. So for example, the economics department at UCSB requires a 2.85 GPA in the 3 pre-major classes they have. Once you finish the required pre-major courses, you can go ahead and apply for the full major, which is just basically some simple paperwork. Usually if you maintain the GPA that's required and finish all the pre-major classes, you do get into your major. How do I switch my major? So if you've just accepted your offer to UCSB and you're not a full student on campus yet, switching your major is actually pretty simple if you're just switching within the letters and science department. It's really just as simple as sending an email to advising. I'll attach an email template here of the email format that they want you to send it in. It can be a little bit more complicated depending on which department and which major you're switching into, but I would definitely suggest talking to the department advisors for the department that you're wanting to switch into, because a lot of the times you'll have to take courses before you can actually fully switch into that major. How to double major? This can be pretty simple if it's just within the letters and science college. All you have to do really is go to the department and talk to an advisor there. Oftentimes they'll just have you fill out paperwork, which will then go to be processed, and then in a few weeks the change will appear on your gold. If it's a really competitive major, chances are you have to complete some coursework first, but make sure you talk to an academic advisor of that department to just make sure. Minors and certificates. UCSB actually has a good amount and selection of minors that you can choose from. Here's the website that you can go to access that list of minors. I would really suggest looking through that and seeing if any of those minors could supplement your learning in your major, or if it's just something that you're interested in. I'm currently an art and tech minor, and I really love it. I think it's an amazing minor. Besides minors, UCSB also offers certificates, which are basically like minors, but they're run through the UCSB extension program. Sometimes they cost some money, but they have really interesting certificates. Like there's a digital marketing certificate and a strategic investment certificate, and I know there's so many others, so I will link the UCSB extension certificates in the description box below. But basically the most popular certificate program that a lot of people do is the technology management program, and that program is basically like UCSB's business minor. It's really a cool certificate. I'm in it now. So yeah, look into minors and certificates if you don't really want to commit to a full second double major, or you just have really industry specific interests that you want to learn about.
Hi, I forgot to film an outro, but I hope that helped, and I'll see you next Monday. Okay, bye!